The cross has the final word.
Good morning. It is Wednesday morning, March 31st, the season of Lent, 40 days of testing, and we are now officially in the Holy Week. And it's day number 37, which means we only have 4 days left, and these 4 days are the most painful of our whole journey. But we're going to see if we can find some hope in the pain that we see these next 4 days. We're going to take a look at the prophet Zechariah and his precise prophecies. The first one we're going to look at this morning comes from Zechariah chapter 11, verse 12 and 13. It says, I said to them, if it is good in your sight, give me my wages, but if not, never mind. So they weighed out 30 shekels of silver as my wages. Then the Lord said to me, throw it to the potter, that magnificent price at which I was valued by them. So I took the 30 shekels of silver and threw them to the potter in the house of the Lord. Now we're going to look at that because this is very precise. There's two prophecies. Number one prophecy is 30 shekels of silver, 30 pieces of silver. The second prophecy is he takes it and he throws it to the potter in the house of the Lord, in the Lord's house. So we're going to see just how precise this really is. So if we look at Matthew, the book of Matthew, chapter 26. In chapter 26 of Matthew, starting with verse 14, it says, then one of the 12, named Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests. And he said, what are you willing to give me to betray him to you? And they weighed out 30 pieces of silver to him. From then on, he began looking for a good opportunity to betray Jesus. So the first prophecy is fulfilled, that Jesus was going to be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, 30 shekels of silver. Now, Zechariah says that this was a magnificent price. He was speaking sarcastically. According to Exodus chapter 21, which is the chapter right after the Ten Commandments, which this is the law of God. Exodus chapter 21, verse 32 says, if the ox gores a male or female slave, the owner shall give his or her master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. 30 pieces of silver, 30 shekels of silver is the price of a slave. It's the price of a slave. So Jesus was sold. Jesus was betrayed for the very price of a slave. Here's something I want you to think about. I want to share with you. In Romans chapter 7, verse 14, the Apostle Paul says, the law is spiritual. The law. But I'm unspiritual, sold as a slave to sin. All of us are slaves. We've been sold as a slave to sin. And in the same way, on the night that Jesus is betrayed, he is sold as a slave. Think how powerful that is. He's sold as a slave to you and me. But that was only the first prophecy. Now, the other prophecy, Zechariah says that the 30 pieces of silver, he threw it to the potter in the house of the Lord. So let's take a look at what happens to this 30 pieces of silver. It's Matthew chapter 27, and verse 3 says, then when Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that he had been condemned, he felt remorse and returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. But they said, what is that to us? See to that yourself. And he threw the pieces of silver into the temple sanctuary and departed. And he went away and he hanged himself. The chief priest took the pieces of silver and said, it's not lawful to put them into the temple treasury, since it is the price of blood. And they conferred together with the money bought the potter's field as a burial place for strangers. And so it was exactly like Zechariah had prophesied. The 30 pieces of silver were actually thrown into the house of the Lord. And what happens with it? It is used to purchase the potter's field. Here's some more encouraging word for you. The potter's field was a worthless field that the potter would use to throw away his discarded and broken pieces of pottery. And the imagery just continues to just go on, because you and I, that's what we are. We are just pottery. But all of us are broken pieces, discarded by the world and just thrown away. And to think that that money was used to purchase the field, a worthless field full of broken pieces of pottery that were discarded, were thrown away and wasted. The imagery here is great, as the money that was used to purchase, to betray Jesus, is actually money used to purchase us, the broken pieces that are thrown away. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I know these next 4 days are the painful days, but we're going to see if we can find some hope in the pain. Bless y'all. Pray y'all have a blessed day.